Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trash Talk Podcast. I'm F. Smokey Rameriz. How you doing?
I'm good, JJ. Man, it is getting hot here. I just went through a horrible week of my AC being out. Had to wait. The AC repairman came out like three times total trying to fix it. And horrible ordeal. I know you guys don't have that problem of having to deal with ACs breaking in the middle of summer or something. It's not quite summer yet, but I'm kind of lucky that I got that over with now rather than in the middle of July. It has been around 90, 92 degrees, which in your non-freedom units is 33.33 degrees.
Yeah.
So, tough. How you been?
Yeah, it's pretty hot over here. Last week we peaked at around 32, maybe a little bit over. It wasn't 33, it was like 30 point something. So about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, we don't have to deal with broken ACs because we don't have ACs in the first place. Yay! So yeah, but I mean that was one day. Otherwise we've been sort of in the mid to high 20s. So let's say, let's say like between 70 and 80, I guess, Fahrenheit. Which is still hot.
That's pretty nice, actually.
I don't like it. So for me, when it goes, okay, 70 is actually kind of nice. Yeah, maybe I was, but like that is really more so when like the sun goes away. Like I think we had like somewhat closer to 80 for like 26, 27 sort of degrees. Most of like during the day. I mean, right now I think it's still 26 degrees, so that would be 78.8 Fahrenheit. And so that is still a lot. Like if it goes like over 22 outside, I just don't like it that much, and obviously that is about 70 in Fahrenheit.
You gotta think, man. Over here, what is it? There's gonna be days during July and August that we hit about 37 degrees Celsius. So, dude, we hit 100 quite often during those 2 months. I mean, it is brutal.
I mean, it can happen here as well. I think mostly in July as well, where you can get like mid to high 30s. I think we might have had 40. I think I saw a thing recently where I think the peak temperature that's ever been recorded was like 42 or something. Which would be like 108. So yeah, that is a lot. And again, I think climate-wise, otherwise we're like actually not that different. It's not like if you were in like Arizona or something where like it's really dry. There's gotta be a better word for not humid. Arid. That's what I was looking for. Arid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming in Georgia the humidity is somewhat similar to here because you're like close to the coast.
Oh, have heavy humidity.
Yeah, which makes it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. People from Arizona come out here and they're like, "Oh my God, why does it feel so much hotter here?" When actually a little cooler than it is there. They're out there at 110 in the middle of July. We'll be at 99, 100, and they're like, "Oh, it's so much hotter here." Humidity is a killer, man.
Yeah, and
Eesh.
I mean, Germany also has a coast. Now, I'm not that close to the coast, but also, it's still like, I don't think there's any major mountains between either, so it still is also like a very fertile place in general. So, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of humidity, and that is a rough combination. I would assume we're comparable here. And yeah, that. And then the other difference, of course, as we talked about plenty of times, is the AC situation where, to be fair, our houses are built in a way to like not necessarily let in all the heat, or mostly not let in the cold during winter, but that also helps a little bit with insulation in summer. But of course, once the heat is in, it's also tough to get it out again. You can't open the windows, of course, at night, if it actually gets cold at night. We've had nights where it still is over 20 degrees, like the whole night over, which is not amazing. But yeah, no, I mean, also sometimes, even if it's like a couple degrees warmer outside than in, like 1 or 2, sometimes it still makes sense to open the window because humidity indoors. If you're just like sitting in the room, like sweating and breathing and all that stuff, like the humidity actually like can go up quite a bit, and sometimes it actually like is so pleasant to open the window when it's a bit warmer outside. Mm-hmm. And also the humidity, in my experience, bounces quicker than the temperature. So sometimes you can just open for a bit, like get your humidity down 20 percentage points, while only getting like half a degree up in temperature or something. And I'm babbling about temperature now, which has nothing to do with our topic.
No, not at all. But I do have a question though. Do you guys have like portable units or something or window units that you could use for emergencies like that?
We've got fans.
Well, we do too, but
yeah, no, I mean,
like you can't see it right AC. Over in the corner.
Like cars have AC, some public buildings have AC, but most private residences don't have AC yet. I'm pretty sure it's increasing. And, I mean, it's not getting colder, so we're probably going to get there. But yeah, right now, AC is not... I mean, to be fair, heat pumps are becoming more common. And I don't know if those are just for heating or if those are reversible. Because a heat pump and an AC are basically the same thing. The only difference is the direction the temperature flows. And apparently it's super easy to have a 2-in-1 because it just has to basically, like, switch one bit of the piping around so that it basically has to switch the pump around so that it pumps the other way. Probably a little oversimplified, but apparently it's like actually like just one component extra that makes it reversible. And so it will make a ton of sense to just have an AC that can also heat in the winter. So I'm assuming that we'll probably have a lot of reversible heat pumps getting built into newer homes.
Yeah.
But obviously heat pumps are tricky. Like putting it into an older house is not nearly as efficient as putting it in like as you're building the place. So, and a lot of people here live in houses that are older than your country. So, okay, that's maybe an exaggeration, a lot, but like maybe that's not as common as I can doubt to be. But those definitely still exist, and even like most regular houses where it's like, oh, this is like 50 or 100 years old, it's like still like too old to have had a heat pump installed when it was built.
Yeah, absolutely. And the amount of work that it would take adding those vents, and I mean, I guess you would have to go through the roof if you have a decent sized attic, rather than some houses here will have the vents running through the floor, which is probably not going to work for adding it on to an older house. So you'd have to go with the attic and run the lines up above. Yeah. But it's multiple stories though. Then you're out of luck there.
Most houses are multi-story here. I mean, I guess the one advantage we have is that we have very thick walls and fairly thick floors and ceilings as well. So I guess we might have more space for ducting. The counterpoint is part of why our walls are thick is because they're not made of cardboard; they're made of bricks. I'm like, I feel like I saw an American reacting to something about like the whole meme about like American like punches like a hole in the wall and like in Europe your hand's gonna hurt. And he's like, okay, I get that they don't do wood framing in their houses, they build them out of brick. But what do they make the interior walls out of if not drywall? And it's like, also a brick! Like, I feel like you're not getting it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an American house that has indoor brick walls. And sometimes even the brick houses on the outdoor will only have one side, maybe two sides, or three sides if you're lucky. Very rarely do you see a 4-sided brick house.
I mean, I will say it's not always brick, sometimes it's cement or something, but the point still stands, right? Like, it's all effectively made out of stone. Which, by the way, again, good for insulation. Like, thicker... I mean, maybe not the interior walls, it doesn't matter as much, but... it's just different here. Which is why I always find it funny when sort of the problems for whenever an American's trying to hang something up, it's like where is the drywall? Something's like, huh? Like, just drill a hole in the wall. Our thing usually is like, where are the pipes? Like we have the exact opposite thing where like if you have like a metal detector, you basically like a stud detector, we put those on the wall to find the pipes to not drill into those. So you don't drill into metal here. Where it's the exact opposite in America apparently.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know if you heard it knocking on the walls. Like, these are literally very thin, just yeah.
That sounds flimsier than this, which is the fucking cable
Yeah, exactly.
that my microphone is standing on. Like I actually don't have a wall that I can reach right now. I know the wall behind me doesn't look that far away, but trust me, it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like if you have a fight with someone, you can easily go through that wall.
Yeah.
Right to the next room.
You're not gonna go through any walls over here.
That's crazy. Yep. I actually grew up in my grandparents' house. That was built. I don't know, like what was it? Late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, somewhere within those two decades, the 1890s to the 1900s, and that was actually very stable, sturdy. But
yeah,
anything built from the C70s on, yeah, they're just paper mache houses.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, like this house was also built in like the 50s or 60s, so this is not like ancient, but I'm pretty sure like most houses that are put up right now are still like made out of like again brick or cement or something like that. Like they're still like solid. Which I don't get, especially in places like the Tornado Alley, or I mean California with like all the wildfires. It's like, why do you keep building wooden houses in the wildfire area? Why do you put up like flimsy walls where there's tornadoes? There was
economy,
right?
The capitalism. Yeah.
There was a story a while back where there was like a rock slide. I think it was in Austria, and had like a giant boulder. Like I don't know, like maybe, great. Yeah, I can't exactly show you with my hands how wide because it was probably like a meter wide and 2 meters tall, like right like person size, probably a bit more than that, which like rolled into a house, and it just stopped and like took out like a little bit of the corner, and it just was stuck in the house because like
here it would have rolled straight through the house.
Is there any chance that I can... yeah, probably not. That seemed like a long shot. Well, that was not remote. See, the thing is, you look at, like, Austria rock slide hitting a house, right? Like I don't know. Like I was thinking maybe the picture comes up, right? And then you get results like this.
Oh Jesus!
So that's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that looks like an American incident.
This is in the UK, and it was a storm.
Yeah.
This is Australia. This is also Australia. Which is okay. I did actually mistype. I mean, I didn't say Australia. I said Austra. I missed an I. But that should not... Oh, that does make a difference. Okay, that was a typo. But still, like, why does it automatically think I mean Australia as soon as I... I... Really? Yeah, I'm not gonna find it. It's fine. It was a long shot.
Yeah.
I think it was Austria. Maybe it was Germany or Switzerland. I think it was somewhere in the Alps. I think those go through all three countries. So yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Where were we going with this?
Well, I mean that kind of bleeds into the topic very, very lightly. Because for economic gain is why Americans make houses so cheap, because they want to maximize their profits and put as many people in houses as possible and get these houses as quickly as possible. So therefore, make them cheaper and faster and move on to the next one. And profits are through the roof on these very cheap houses.
That is absolutely true, which is why our topic today is actually also about how capitalism is bad. We're talking about dynamic pricing. I mean, obviously the idea is to maximize profits, right? And so I believe before we started recording, you called it the logical next evolution of capitalism, which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because it's always about extracting the maximum profit. And if you can charge more for the same thing, you would do that. And it's basically like the very basic economic idea, like the most basic thing you're ever going to learn about economics, right? Supply and demand. And so you can just gauge the supply and the demand and just adjust the prices, not like once a quarter or once a year, but like once every 15 seconds. Like, I get it. Like, from like a company standpoint, why you would do that. And I could even see why some might argue that it could at times benefit the consumer, where theoretically, if something isn't selling well, that means you might get a discount. Granted, stores already do discounts for products that aren't selling well, even without otherwise having dynamic pricing, so that's not a good argument. But like, I kind of get it in that regard, but there was actually talks about grocery stores wanting to do that. That's part of why a lot of grocery stores were getting digital displays, so they wouldn't have to like re-sticker items every time they wanted to change the prices. And that just feels bad. Like, why? That seems
That's
wrong.
insane. Yeah, that's absolutely insane to me. I mean,
Like,
but
imagine, I guess, could get even more expensive.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. They're going to use the excuse of, well, it's actually good for the consumer because sometimes you'll get things much cheaper than you would have normally. Which there's going to be a baseline. I don't buy that line at all. There's going to be a baseline of how low they will make things, which is probably what they all are to begin with. They're not going to start dipping below that baseline and selling things cheaper than what they are at the moment. It's only going to go up. And it's going to go up during peak times.
As I said, right, like, clearance sales already exist. Right? Like, the only thing that you're changing is that you're upping the price of it is popular. That's the only thing you're really changing in practice. And that's bad. But it's interesting because there is one domain in which we kind of have all accepted that dynamic prices are just going to be at play. And that's gas stations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, gas prices are like weirdly floaty all the time.
Yeah. That is pretty insane, right? Because they buy a barrel of gas or oil at a certain price. And when that makes it through the system, by the time it comes out of the pump, it could have gone up exponentially at that point. And they just make that much more profit off of it. Whereas you would think, I bought this gas, the company that is selling the gas, you bought this gas for this price, you make this much profit, you sell that much. But no, it's a floating price range. And you're right, nobody really makes a fuss about it. We just accept it.
I mean, the argument of tying it to the oil prices kind of makes sense in as far as, yes, you're not literally paying more for that tank full of gas. But as a company, you have expenses and you have income. And the expenses you're having right now for ordering deliveries for in the future, you can then already equalize right now with your... So, like, I can kind of, like, again, I can see the business justification for why that is actually justifiable. But then there's also a thing where, like, in the mornings and afternoons, well, evenings for us, really, when it's peak traffic time for, like, workers. Also, weekends and holidays. It always is more expensive, right? Like, when there is a lot of traffic, gas prices are more expensive. So it's not just based on oil prices. And again, even that is, like, as you explained, is like a bit nebulous why those should be directly connected, like, that close temporally. But, like, you notice, like, if oil prices go down, like, gas prices will usually go down, like, within a day or two, which is much faster than the oil would actually be transported. But yeah, no, I mean, and obviously they go up even faster. Like, if oil prices go up, they're, like, instantly, like,
they'll go up off of speculation of oil prices going up.
And again, to some degree, I can see it, right? Because you need to buy more oil to, like, backfill what you're selling right now. But especially with, like, oh, there's a lot of people that might need gas right now, so let's jack up the prices. I guess the one counterpoint you could have is that it actually might be good for traffic. Because if there is a lot of traffic, you don't have a lot of people like pulling into gas stations back up into traffic, and because there's always a certain amount of like if there is a lot of traffic in general, there's a lot of cars driving by the gas station. Prices are probably high, so percentage-wise, fewer people will pull over. Whereas if there's not a lot of traffic, like say in the middle of the night, gas prices usually are a bit better, and so then it doesn't matter if everyone that drives past is filling up because you might as well, right? So I guess you could make that, but again, that's not why they're doing it. That's just a side effect.
Nah. Yeah, they're always doing it for profits for sure. But there's this thing in business where if you have too many customers, then you raise your prices. Like if you have so many customers that you can't meet everyone's needs, you raise your prices and you try to make the same amount of money off of less customers. It cuts down the amount of customers you have, and you can still do business normally without putting yourself in danger of overreach or something like that. But it's all done for profit, though. In the end, it's a capitalist society. Another area that we really don't make a fuss about is hotels for some reason.
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
Because if there's a big convention in town, you could pay double times even triple what you would pay for a room per night.
Yeah, and again, it makes sense, right? Because people do pay it. They will be full, right? It's not like...
Yeah.
Like, so obviously, like, why would you charge less if you know you can charge more, right? And I guess that's always the thing, right? There's this idea of the price is whatever the market will bear, right? We'll charge as much as people are willing to pay for it. And obviously that, again, is not optimal. I mean, yes, the people that buy it are willing to pay for it, so I guess you could argue those people don't have a basis upon which to complain, but again, that becomes especially hard to say when it is groceries or something, where it's like, yeah, I kind of need to eat something to survive. It's like...
It's not luxury.
Like hotels for like conventions, it's like, okay, right? Like, you chose to go to this convention, you didn't need to do that. I mean, unless you're like an up-and-coming author or something, and those actually might need to go to conventions to like actually get their book sold or something like that. But like, most people that go to conventions are just regular like guests. You're just doing it for fun. And then I can like kind of see how it's like not as harmful as if you're doing it for again groceries. I mean even gas to a degree. I mean especially in countries and regions where you can't really get places that well without a car, right? Like, I could take the bus most places if I wanted to, and so if gas prices were too high, I could just take the bus theoretically. You probably don't have that option, I would think. Maybe in the city.
Take the bus to certain places, yeah. It's not like there's a bus line running over the entire state of Georgia or anything.
Yeah.
And there's even a rail service. Like in Atlanta, in the city, yeah, we have rail service, we have buses, but no, to go across the state, we don't have that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I could get into basically like any place in Germany with a population over 500 just with public transport. I might be on the wrong side of town, but I'll probably get there. I might have to like, it might take a while. I might miss some connections because, it's always the bus you're on is the one that's late, but the one you're connecting to is on time. And by the way, that's the thing, right? Like German buses and trains are notoriously not very punctual, unless they're the connection to another one that's running late already. Then they're always on time.
Oh, yeah.
You're always going to miss your connection if there's the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. No, we do have bus services if you want to go from one big city to another. Say, I want to go to Philadelphia from Atlanta. You can catch either a Greyhound or if Megabus is still in service. Yeah, those things were nice.
I was going to say Greyhound.
Dynamic pricing.
There's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's like such a trope, right? Like, catch a Greyhound. It's like...
Yeah.
I've heard of those before, but it's interesting because I mean that's also a weird thing, by the way. Like to Europeans, this is weird because we would never think to go from like I don't know Berlin to Rome or something on a bus. Like you take a train for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we don't have that.
Yeah, like long distance is all. I mean, okay, actually, if Berlin to Rome, some people might fly, but I mean, the airport is finished finally. But yeah, you might fly or you take a train. You wouldn't take a bus. Buses are usually for like short to medium distances, or for large groups. I guess if you're like if you have an entire travel group, you might like rent a bus or something. But like actually like public bus lines are usually for short distances more so.
Yeah.
Like I would go from my town to the nearest city on a bus. Although I think train and bus is actually a wash. I think it's pretty much the same amount of time. But like I might take a bus there. But if I wanted to go to Cologne, I would take a train.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have. The connection is pretty good.
Yeah.
I might have to take a bus to the place where the train leaves from, because actually,
yeah.
No, actually, there is actually a train that is like right in my town that I just have to take one connection. If I want to go to Cologne, I don't actually need a bus for that. Depends on the time though. In the middle of the night, it might actually be tricky to like get back from the hub to the town because connections are bad. Like after 8 or something, which is not even that late.
Mm-hmm. Do the passengers run on the same tracks as the freight trains in Germany?
Sometimes, but I think most of it they don't. I'm not in. entirely sure. I'm pretty sure we have some lines that are like purely freight lines, but I'm pretty sure the line that runs through my small town actually does both.
Would the railroad tracks have 2 separate sets of tracks, or is it just one?
No, we have just one line here. But I think they're on both. I mean, in the US, I believe freight always has priority, which I don't think is the case here. So I'm assuming that they would have to work around the passenger schedule. But again, I'm not sure. Like, I think there are separate, just purely cargo rail setups. So I think the overlap is not super significant. And anywhere we have like higher volume of passenger rail, you would definitely like not have cargo going over the same tracks.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure of that.
I always wondered how that worked because we used to like if you history or movies or something based on 100 years ago or more. Many people were traveling on the trains. There were tons of passenger trains, but it just doesn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, man.
Right, I never
maybe
thought of that.
flying. Yeah, maybe flying. Took priority or something.
Yeah, I mean
something. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I mean, the train literally predates the automobile, and every American city is built around cars. Your highways are insane, and the funny thing is, whenever you add lanes to a highway, it doesn't actually fix congestion for more than like a couple months.
True. Very true.
There's there's actual scientific studies about this, by the way. Like, adding lanes to highways does never fix long-term congestion because it just means that more cars will go there, which will even out over time. Like, it's just expanding highways width-wise is basically never a good idea.
Yeah. And you would think, well, maybe it'll fix the surface streets, right? The problem is more people are traveling those surface streets to get to the highway. So it never fixes it. We have an entire university here in Atlanta, Georgia Tech, that there's a whole section of those guys that are only working on solving traffic problems. And the years and years they put into doing it, they still haven't been successful at fixing. They did come up with this unique idea of bridges that actually you cross over to the opposite side of the bridge. Like in America, we usually drive on the right side of the road. On these bridges, you'll actually crisscross over and drive on the left side of the road, and it somehow bleeds off traffic in each direction much faster. I will say that they really helped out at super busy intersections, mostly bridges that go over interstates and highways. It really does help that way. But as far as congestion on multi-lane highways, they haven't been able to figure it out. They've done reverse lanes. They've done alternating emergency lanes and traveling lanes and stuff like that. They've added this thing called a peach pass, where you can only travel in the high occupancy lane with a pass that you pay for. None of it helps, man. They're over congested no matter what. So
yeah, I mean,
I agree.
the trick is to build out better public transport. And if better public transport is available, people will use it. And that will then reduce car traffic. The way you do that is, I mean, rail is obviously great. But especially for short distance, buses are good. The thing is, you need to have dedicated bus lanes sometimes, especially in cities. Because otherwise, the buses are just going to get stuck in traffic. Which makes the buses unreliable, which means that people won't take the buses, which means the traffic stays congested, which doesn't solve anything. And so, bus lanes are great. Also, not realistic, but some European cities have actually just banned cars in downtown areas. But also, our cities are structured completely differently. So,
yeah, we have a riot.
Yeah, but also, if you want to go from one place to another, usually it's a walkable distance, right? Because you don't have these cities where it's just a parking lot with a store, another big parking lot with a store, right?
Yeah.
And for some of our cities are smaller than a Walmart parking lot, so of course they're more walkable. Something cool that I've seen, not directly related, but actually, if you park cars like this, in sort of a cross pattern, it actually takes up 60% less space than if you just have them all parallel. So,
Huh. We do have angled parking spaces, but interlocking that.
Angled, but then they'll be parallel, so that doesn't fix anything. You have to have them apparently. Yeah. I think it's roughly 90 degrees to each other. Apparently, somewhere in Frankfurt, they have a parking lot like that, and apparently it has. I think they said 6% more space, or 6% less space for the same capacity than if you had them just regular grid. So
crazy.
It was either 6% more parking on the same space or 6% less space for this. I don't know, but anyways, it's a lot more efficient. So yeah, geometry also super useful. Not really solving the traffic situation, but at least you can get some of that land back to plant trees or something.
It'd be nice. Yeah.
Which, by the way, with everything getting warmer, sealed surfaces trap in heat. Cities are on average multiple degrees warmer. I think it was 2.5 or something than the surrounding countryside because they trap the heat. And just having a couple blocks replaced with green spaces can almost entirely undo that effect.
Man. Thinking of being in downtown Atlanta. I did see that certain places like LA, they were trying to combat that by painting the roads white. All the dark paved surfaces, they were trying to paint many of them white. And certain areas, they would even use rainbow colors. But I think they found out that once it rains, the road was a little too slippery. So I think they walked that back.
I was going to say it's not a terrible idea, but it also it is still better to just have some green spaces. I think it's also better for people's mental health, although I'm not 100% sure about that. I think Cologne was talking about they had an entire path through the city where they were okay, we're gonna tear up everything in this path and we're gonna just put some green spaces there. Now, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, no. I mean, I feel like we have barely talked about the topic, but we did talk about some interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah. As far as dynamic pricing, though, we're not going to be able to stop it. We can all argue about it, but it's going to happen because, like you said, and I said,
the only way to stop it will be to make it illegal.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I don't know that would ever pass in America, though.
Yeah, there were proposals in Germany to limit the amount of times gas stations can change their prices to, I think, once a day or something. They were you could just change the prices once a day, which, by the way, is still a lot when you compare it to some supermarkets, right? But I don't think that one passed. So, there's that. But they were talking about it for a while. Okay, there's so often you hear they were talking about maybe making this law, and then hey, whatever happened with that? And it's no, didn't get enough votes. It's okay.
I think that's actually a good idea, though. You're not completely restricting their ability to change their prices, but limit it. I don't see what's wrong with that. Once a day is good enough. I would say even for all forms of retail. Like you can only change your prices once a day.
Yeah. Also, I think if you advertise a price, like in commercials or in flyers or whatever, then maybe there should be a certain minimum amount of time for which that price actually applies. Whereas like because if you're sending out flyers where it's like, oh yeah, like pamphlets with a mail or whatever, it's like, oh yeah,
bait and switch, yeah.
Like it costs this much, and you go to the store and it costs like twice as much. It's like, huh? Like what was the advertising for? If it's just a lie. I mean, obviously, false advertising is a crime, but then it's like, well, it was the price when the advertising ran. It's like, I don't know how exactly that would work. Also, I said false advertising is illegal, but I don't. First of all, I said a crime, which probably isn't true. It's probably like a civil offense, and also, I don't know if it's illegal in the U.S., but it definitely is illegal over here.
Oh, it will. It may vary from region to region, but
I mean, it sounds
like definitely has been a crime. It is, yeah. But yeah, false advertising is definitely a crime in certain places in America. I don't know if it's all across the board, but definitely in certain places for sure. I've cases of people getting a lockdown for that. But yeah, there was another point I was going to make, but then I forgot it. Oh, I'll bring it up if I remember.
Because otherwise we can also move on to our facts of the week if you want to.
Yeah, let's do that.
What is your fact of the week?
Let me bring it back up here. All right. There is actually a word for someone giving an opinion about something they know nothing about. An ultra-crepidarian. I think that's how you say it. Ultra-crepidarian is someone who voices thoughts beyond their teeth. I kind of think of Dunning-Kruger syndrome when I read that, but yeah, apparently that's a big thing, you know. People just on the internet giving out opinions that they know nothing about.
I honestly was thinking if we should do that as a topic at one point, but then I decided that was probably too stupid. Where it's like we talk about a topic that only one of us knows about, but like we both basically talk about it as if we know about it, like just like having a regular topic conversation, and like one of us is just kind of like bluffing their way through it. But then I was like, that's probably not actually that fun though, because at that point you're just talking bullshit. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that like we're having a particularly highbrow conversation here, but like, I feel like there's a bit of a minimum basic standard here. That, So I don't think it's that good of a dead. I thought like maybe doing it as like if we did it as a topic, we could just be like, hey, by the way, here's the thing that we're doing, so that people aren't getting confused where one of us is like being completely weird about the topic. But, yeah.
I mean, cool though, and you have to.
You could also do it with no one knows what we're talking about. I mean, we're just like making up like a fake thing, and we're talking about it for half an hour.
Yeah.
But at that point, we're just doing improv.
But you have the viewers go through and guess which person knows a topic they're talking about, and which one doesn't. Yeah. I
mean, I feel like that could be pretty obvious, because you could just ask like a super specific question, like it's like, oh, we're talking about Doctor Who, right? And you don't know anything about it, right? And they're like, oh yeah, but what do you think about last episode? And you can be like, oh yeah, no, it was pretty good, right? But then if I ask about something like specific, like, oh, like who was your favorite character? Right? It's like, right?
Well, I mean, if the person is well versed in the Who universe, but if they're not, you know, you could be like, it was Steve Flanagan, you know, the butler from the library. That was my favorite character.
I mean, I feel like that sounds like obvious bullshit, because butler from the library. I mean, listen, I don't know how they do it over in Britain, but I have never encountered a library butler before.
The butler has to take care of the library also. I'm not talking about a public library. I'm talking about in a mansion.
Right. You were just like mentally doing Clue, right? Like, it was the butler in the library with a baseball bat.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my fact of the week. So apparently a lot of people on the internet have that.
So my fact of the week is about a story from a Japanese zoo. They were doing renovations, and they had to close down for a bit while they were doing those. And during that time, it was noticed that one of their sunfish stopped eating and started rubbing its body against the tank. staff members had initially suspected that it might have had a parasite or some digestive issues, but it later turned out that it was just missing the visitors. And so they started hanging. Wow. They started hanging up. I even have an image here from the BBC article. They started hanging up like pictures of faces with some shirts under them, so that the fish thought it had visitors, and it just perked right back up. It was just missing the visitors.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. You wouldn't think that they would develop that kind of bond with, or maybe it's attention, that they just love the attention. So,
I mean, I don't know what exactly it is, but I thought it was very interesting that, because you oftentimes, like, whenever you hear about these sort of things, it's usually, like, neutral at best, right? Oftentimes, like, oh, actually, like, the tanks are held up way too small, and they don't get enough exercise, and it's not, like, the environment isn't stimulating enough for them, it's not varied enough. And it's like, no, he like, actually, like, misses the human contact. It's like, oh, I did not expect
that. Yeah, you think animals in captivity, maybe that's, some sort of relief for the stress that they're under, just to be able to act in certain small with visitors. A little bit of dopamine for the animal.
Yeah. Which brings us to our halftime show. We're once again doing Hurdle Decades, but with a twist, we're doing the number ones categories. Well, all of these. And I guess let's start with the most out there. Let's start with Hurdle Australia. Australia number one hits. Those are hits that were number ones in Australia, not necessarily from Australia.
It doesn't matter if you
Born This Way, Lady Gaga.
Is it Lady Gaga? Is this Born This Way?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. Yep.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M.
So I thought that was pretty easy.
This one may be way easier.
Well, this was a number one song in Australia, but maybe you know less about what charted in the UK. That actually does sound familiar.
It doesn't give a time frame for these, does it?
No, it does not.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the beginning of a Metallica song. There's no way Metallica went to number one in the UK.
I mean, more likely in the US, you would think, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I spelled it right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like... Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah, not that then. Alright, I guess I need more unless you have a guess.
Sounds familiar, but it's a guitar, right? Like, it could be...
Thing I can think of right now is...
I mean, my mind is in like a completely different place, but I'm not really very confident in anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's Backstreet.
Like, I was thinking
about
that.
Is it Backstreet or NSYNC?
I think it's Backstreet Boys. I want it that way.
You are my fire.
That way, Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to say, but I was like, is that a guitar in the beginning though? Like for the song? And I was like, that doesn't sound like they would use a guitar, but like I was like, it could be that. Yeah, it is.
Huh.
I actually was thinking about that song right away, but I was like, no, it isn't. Is it? It's like, sometimes just gotta be a bit more confident in your guesses. Canada number ones.
That's right.
It sounds the least familiar of the three so far.
Oh yeah. No, I know this. Play a little.
This is one of the songs.
Bob Dylan's son. What was the band that Bob Dylan had? Bob Dylan's son. Jacob Dylan. Is this that? I think they only had one hit.
Do I just type in Jacob or does it not? If it's a band name, then
no, it was. I can't remember the band name right offhand, but it was the "We Can Be Home, One Headlight." Type in One Headlight.
One Headlight. The Wallflowers.
The Wallflowers, yeah.
That's
got to be it, right? Yeah.
And now, for the last country on here, the US of A. #1 hits. Now, you might have heard this one before then? Not my kind of music, it would seem.
No, I don't know that one. You would think this would be the easiest one for me.
Yeah, although I feel like a lot of songs are just like internationally popular and are very popular in a lot of Western countries, so those 4 countries in particular are also all English speaking. I think there would be a lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm. Hey, play just a little. Let's do it. Yeah, I do know this. What's it called? Is it Stars on 45?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I mean, it is in here. Oh, it is!
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can't play much more of this and justify it under various. But yeah, no, like, I've heard Stars on 45 like a couple times, but I could have told you all the songs that were in there, which is, in the beginning, it wasn't necessarily recognizable to me. But yeah, fair enough. And now, 70s #1s. Are all the headings this big? Have they always been that big? It feels very big.
It does. Oh, that's your boys right there.
Huh?
That's your...
Oh, Brown Sugar, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they your favorite band?
They're definitely up there. Yeah, no, I immediately was like, oh yeah, I know this. I just was thinking. No, the thing is, like, for a second I was thinking that you were referencing a different band because I'm wearing a Kiss shirt and Gene Simmons is hanging behind me. And I was like, because like that is normally the place that you and all would oftentimes go to where it's like, hey, it's like, I'm not even that big of a Kiss fan, it just looks like it, okay? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like them well enough. It's just that, like, I definitely like the Stones more.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had really, I mean, okay, #1's categories are inherently probably a little easier than the other ones, but I feel like we've had a lot easier selections so far compared to the other ones. Not from that.
Oh, hold on. We covered this recently. Play a little more. Yeah, that's it. So Kenny Rogers crossed over into R&B with this song by Lionel Richie, or written by Lionel Richie, and the song is called "Lady."
That is correct.
Yeah. Wow. I got lucky with that one because we just recently covered that one on the channel.
I think so far, like, between the two of us, we're still perfect, right? Like, we've gotten everything.
So these categories are much easier.
It sounds familiar, but it's also very generic.
Yeah. Play more.
It sounds very familiar.
Hold up. Yeah, give me a little. I know this. I'm waiting. Man, I almost don't want to say it if I'm wrong, but I'm waiting for an auto-tuned voice to start singing over that.
I mean, if you have an idea who it is, we can also guess right now.
Yeah. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough.
Oh wait, yeah, Believe. It's Believe by Cher is what you...
Yeah.
Why do I... Believe by Cher. That could be it. It is it. God damn it. I should have gotten that too. Like, if I had heard the voice, I probably would have gotten it. Okay, that is as far as we would have gotten it. On the last bit, I would have gotten it, but before then, I wouldn't have. So yeah, Believe. Yeah, right. Believe.
Like when I heard the scent, I was like, I can just hear an own voice singing over this.
So yeah, as far as the number one songs go, I think you got like 4 of them, like a 3 or something. Like we like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we like kind of both knew the first 2, so it's Anyways.
Yeah.
That was right. I didn't even need to change the scene for this. Would you rather questions for the second topic? I have not read this before. Would you rather have a lazy partner or a stupid partner? Ooh boy, how about neither?
Yeah. Sometimes those two go together. Just when you get both, you're just SOL, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
I do feel like there is a lot of people though that are just one or the other though. There's a lot of people that aren't very smart but that try really hard, and there's a lot of former gifted kids. You know, people that were always told that they were smart and they just like coasted through school, and then all of a sudden in real life it's like, oh shit, I actually have to put effort into things. I'm not used to this. Trust me,
true.
I understand that position.
I mean, if you have a partner that just works really hard, though, they don't have to be extremely intelligent. You know, you guys can still get stuff together. Use your intelligence and the work ethic of the other person. So maybe stupid is the way to go.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, it is really more of a opposites complement each other kind of thing, right? If I pick stupid.
Yeah. Whereas lazy, it doesn't matter what you can have good conversations, but you don't get anything accomplished.
Yeah, lazy is very dangerous because I think if I'm already not very motivated to do things and my partner wouldn't be either, it feels like it would just compound each other, right? I think I would have to pick stupid, even if I don't love it either, because
me too.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it also depends on like which kind of stupid, right? That sounds weird, but some people just aren't that smart, and that's the end of it. And some people are almost like intentionally stupid. They're like really unwilling to learn things, right? They're like, oh no, I'm just too stupid for this, I'm not even trying to understand it, and like that is much worse.
The old trope, I don't know that. I'm keeping it real.
Yeah, like
real dumb.
Yeah, when people are like almost like taking pride in not knowing things, or
exactly,
or, I mean, even just people that are like very resistant. Like you get to sometimes when like people are like, oh, I'm just bad at computers. It's like, and like if you try to show them how to do something, they're like, no, I'm just bad at it. Like you do it for me. It's like, I don't want to have to do this for you every time.
Exactly.
So but yeah, stupid is the right choice here. 57-43. Again, I think it just depends a large part on like what kind of person you yourself are as well. Would you rather only eat burnt food or always bite your tongue when you eat? I mean, like, how badly is this food burnt, though?
And how bad are you biting your tongue?
I mean, granted, sometimes it does feel like that happens to me already. Okay, not every time, but like it does happen to me. Like it feels like too often.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And there's sometimes I have to check, like, did I just bite a piece of my tongue off? Like, there's some really harsh ones sometimes.
Okay, that bad I've done to that much, but like just biting my tongue a little bit. And then the worst part is like it swells a bit, and then you like bite it every single time, basically. Like you have to be really careful not to bite your tongue once you've bitten it once because of the swelling. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, it's more easier after that.
I mean, if the food isn't too badly burnt, I'll pick burnt food. I actually don't mind food being a little burned. Like
me either.
Like whenever when we're working or something and like the sausage are like a little burnt, I feel like that gives them a bit of extra spice, right? Like it's almost better than if they're like not burnt at all. I mean, I don't think it's like super healthy, but I'll pick burnt food.
Don't get me wrong, I like medium rare steaks and things like that, but
I'm
certain things.
I'm very much a well done guy. Also, it was 44.56, just in case. I'm wondering. I feel like this is easy. Would you rather have tongues for fingers or fingers for a tongue?
Do I still get taste buds?
If you pick tongues for fingers, then you still have taste buds on your fingers. If you pick finger for a tongue, I guess you don't.
Oh, God.
I mean, I think there are still taste buds in like, the rest of your mouth. I don't think it's just your tongue. I think it's just most of them are on your tongue. I'm not entirely sure.
I never knew that there were taste buds in other places.
I mean, there are taste buds in your asshole. That's a real thing. You could look that up.
I didn't.
Like,
yes,
I guess
will look that
your brain
up.
doesn't process it the same way, but I think there are taste buds throughout your mouth a little bit, but most of it's definitely in your tongue. And the whole diagram about like which parts of the tongue taste which taste is incorrect. They're pretty evenly spread.
And let's see. Taste buds primarily cover your tongue. To a lesser extent, though, you also have taste buds on the roof of your mouth and in your throat. Doesn't say the butthole, but
I'm pretty sure I've heard that somewhere. Where like, to be fair, like the internet's full of misinformation. I might have just heard a wrong thing, but I think I've
nasal cavity. That makes sense in the nasal cavity also.
Yeah, I guess smell and taste are not that different actually. Yeah, right. People that don't have a sense of smell also have a significantly weaker sense of taste, I believe. If you lose a sense of smell, foods taste
Recent studies revealed that the taste receptors are present in the gastrointestinal tract.
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, technically your butthole is part of the gastrointestinal, right?
But yeah, no, like, taste buds are in surprising places.
Yeah.
I guess you don't actually taste it, though, so it like, your brain doesn't process it as in the same way, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an easy answer here. Though, I think there's only one correct answer.
Tongues for fingers.
Oh, really? I would pick finger as a tongue.
What? But you get no pleasure from eating at that point, though.
Yeah, but at least you could grab things.
Yeah.
I don't know if your tongues would be, like, articulate. I mean, they are articulate, but also, like, they're not very grippy. They're very, like, slippery. I don't think you would be able to grab things very well with fingers.
If there's saliva always on your tongue, then that would be an issue, but...
Well,
if not, they would actually.
If there's not, then they would dry out, and they would be cracked constantly, which is actually like kind of painful.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think finger as a tongue is a bit weird, but it really
both of them are very weird.
It's a bit weird, and it's gonna dim your sense of taste. But I think you could live with that fairly well. Tongues for fingers, besides the fact that it's like a very obvious thing that everyone's gonna notice, is also I don't think. You can grab things as well. I mean, granted, I can grab a lot of things with my feet as well, but, you know, I'd rather, like, have my fingers fully functional. I'll sacrifice my tongue for that. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess.
I just think it's almost 50-50 to me. Fingers.
Yeah. I say it's almost 50-50 to me, so go for your option.
Finger as a tongue had 64%. Most people agreed with me. 36 agreed with you. Let's do this one and then, I don't know, 2 more and then move on to the songs. Would you rather have a fast death or a slow death?
Oh. There's not a question there.
I feel like it's like generally understood that fast death is preferable.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someone's going to debate that. Oh, I'll have time to tell all my loved ones, goodbye and whatnot. That is not a big ordeal for me. That is not high up there on my list.
Yeah.
I will take it fast, please.
I mean, granted, I feel like normally it goes slow and painful. If it's slow and painless, then like maybe.
But, yeah, maybe if it's painless, yeah.
But like, I guess the implication really isn't there. I mean, if the answer is like, would you rather die now or die later? I'll pick later. Thank you very much. But like, that's not how I read that question.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say just how slow is
86% of people picked fast F because of course they did. Who wrote this question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, would you rather use eye drops made of vinegar or toilet paper made of sandpaper?
Oh, Lord.
I mean, I think I know what the answer is.
Yeah, the toilet paper of sandpaper.
Yeah. So, I have two thoughts. First of all, all sandpaper that I've ever interacted with has two sides to it. Oh, actually, yeah. Some of it is just different grits. But sometimes you have ones where it's just like cardboard on the backside and sandpaper on one side.
Yeah.
And those would be perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, I think there are some that are just like a finer grit on one side and a tougher grit on the other, which those are sandpaper on both sides. You can't really like split the difference there. But I think if you're careful with it, it's probably not even that bad.
Yeah, you probably won't even really have a rash or anything if you do it just right. And you would want the finer grit, though. Maybe something like a 2000 grit or something like that. It would be much, much smoother. But they don't specify.
Now I'm thinking, is there sandpaper that's so smooth that you wouldn't even really notice it's sandpaper?
Yeah, like patching paper, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you get up to like 4,000, 5,000 grit, which they do make it, so yeah, it would be pretty dang smooth on your butt, man.
Now I'm just imagining you finding sandpaper that's actually like just more comfortable than regular toilet paper. It's like, oh, this is actually better than at least the cheap toilet paper. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, seriously, you just don't wipe very vigorously. And I think the counterpoint is that actually, like, you shouldn't have to wipe as hard to get a clean ass because sandpaper is literally there to get shit off there. I mean, not literal shit, but like, it will do literal shit, right? Like, I think it could really work.
Mm-hmm. Definitely going with sandpaper.
40-60. So it's pretty even split. And let's do one more. And would you rather have to go to school in a shopping cart pushed by your mom, or have to go to school in a wagon pulled by your dad? That's such a weird question.
That is. I'm guessing a middle schooler wrote this question.
Also, like, I feel like this almost asks more about the relationship to your parents, because, like, pushed in a shopping cart versus pulled in a wagon seems pretty equal to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't...
I guess I get some extra height to the shopping cart. If you gotta stay in the cart, then you're probably more on eye level with people in the shopping cart.
I'm guessing the issue, though, is the other kids are going to make fun of you either way.
Yeah, I mean, sure, right? Like, but...
Yeah. Maybe I'm too far removed from school right now to see a difference. But
yeah, no, that's... I mean, I've only been out of school, like... Oh, God, coming up on 10 years now? Jesus. I think it's 9 years that I'm out of school now. Which is a long time. But, like, I could put myself into my mindset, at least as a high schooler. And I don't think it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Like, those both seem equally bad.
Mm-hmm.
Also, half of our school building was only accessible via stairs.
You didn't have elevators or anything?
So, the school was essentially made up of two connected buildings, and one of them had an elevator and the other one didn't. Now, normally students weren't allowed to use the elevator either, but I think we did once have a student in a wheelchair, and they actually made sure that all of his classes were either on ground level or in the building with the elevator, and then he could use the elevator that normally was reserved for teachers only, because he had to get there somehow. So yeah. But yeah, we had like 2 full stories that were just inaccessible to anyone who couldn't walk stairs.
Oh wow!
I will say,
we have elevators.
The US is very good, legally speaking, compared to other countries with like accommodations for disability. I don't think there's nearly as much like legally mandated accessibility in laws of other countries. That's like the one place that the US is actually genuinely pretty good at. With the
you guys probably don't.
Disabilities Act.
Probably don't have the amount of civil suits either that we have, because if a handicapped person rolls up to a store and they can't get up onto the curb, they sue the store and usually win. So that's why things like that happens. Yeah,
but I mean, again, I think it's a good thing though, right? Like you want stores to be wheelchair accessible, right? Because there are enough people in wheelchairs.
Oh, it's a good thing,
even if you're not in a wheelchair, right? If you're like walking with a stick and you just have a hard time walking, you're probably still gonna be happy to not have to go upstairs, right? So I think accessibility is actually like a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. But use of lawsuits is not.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how are you going to enforce your rights if you can't sue about them, right? Like, there is.
Like, there should be like less charges or something, you know, and not saying that they need to go to jail for not having a ramp up onto their curb, but you know, they could get a fine or something.
I mean, it's essentially what happens, right? It's just that there's a full lawsuit before. I mean, I think this is one of those things where
you're demanding $125,000 because I couldn't get up onto the curb.
I think a lot of that should just be handled by probably the municipality, right? It's just like you're like, hey, this store is not wheelchair accessible. Someone from the municipality drives out there, looks at the store, is like, oh, this isn't wheelchair accessible, and then like writes them a fine and be like, hey, you got to put in wheelchair shit within the next month, otherwise we're gonna fine you again.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll pick shopping cart because of better eye lines. Also, less likely to accidentally get knocked into something. Because being pulled is always just more dangerous, I guess. 3862. And I don't know if it's because people prefer cards or because they prefer their fathers. I have no idea. But that brings us to, I guess I could have gone straight there as well, our songs that... It occurs to me that I haven't put on the songs of the week. Okay, let's try that again. What is your song of the week?
It's to be We Care a Lot by Faith No More.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think you've had better songs. I think you've also might have had worse songs. You probably had worse songs. It's just kind of like okay.
Yeah. Well, I love this scene that happened in LA around the late 80s and early 90s where there was a big funk fusion into the alternative rock scene that was happening. So you get these bands like Faith No More and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Primus. You know, they all incorporated funk and what was happening back in the 70s into that alternative rock scene. And it created some great music, man. I've always been a big funk fan anyway. And this was Faith No More's first album. We actually featured a lead singer that is not Mike Patton. He didn't come around until the second album. This lead singer, actually, I can't remember his name right offhand, but he left after this. But love Faith No More. And I love Mike Patton, but I just thought it was cool to bring up the hit off of the first album, not Mike Patton.
Yeah, I mean, I already said my opinion on the song, and that I guess brings us then to my song of the week, which is Bye Bye Beautiful by Nightwish.
Make me want to go to Wacken.
Oh yeah, there was one year where like I had just randomly seen that like the headliners were like Sabaton and Nightwish and some other band that I also like somewhat liked, and I think the next list up on the list like after headliners was Hammerfall, and I was like, oh, there's like a bunch of great bands there. But like it was like a couple months before the festival, and like tickets obviously sold out within like a week of them being on sale, and so I was like, well, guess I'm not going.
Yeah, I would love to attend that festival one year.
I mean, I've thought about that before. I think I should probably at some point try to go there. I mean, it's a lot easier for me, of course, because, you know, I mean, it's not right around the corner, but it's also, I'm in the same country, so that...
Yeah.
It's funny.
I mean,
because,
if you and...
Because that town's population is like genuinely like a fraction of the attendance of the festival.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, the town, like, population during the festival is, like, I think 10 times or whatever what it is, like, the rest of the year.
But it's, like, mecca for symphonic metal, power metal, and just metal of all genres, really.
Yes. But symphonic metal and power metal are the two best kinds of metal.
I figured you would say that.
I mean...
I think, my favorite kind of metal would be... I love original metal. I love thrash. Groove metal, probably my favorite. Yeah, I mean, that means groove metal.
Like the older heavy metal stuff, like I also tend to quite like. But a lot of the newer stuff that calls itself just like heavy metal, I'm a little more mixed on. But yeah, I mean, you know my taste at this point. I think we don't have to go too deep into it.
Yeah.
And I guess that probably brings this episode of the Trash Talk podcast to a close. If you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like. And don't forget to check out the Trash Talk. Also, if something to say, leave a comment below. Smokey. That's it.